This is the homepage for the Microsoft Learn for the Microsoft Certified Azure Fundamentals. So if you just do a Google search for AZ-500, you're going to come to this page, right? Again, this is a beginning level. The AC 500, if you have followed my course, it's for someone who wants to know about cloud stuff, especially Microsoft Azure. So this exam was last updated on 1/23/24. You need to update this on a yearly basis. But anyway, so here it's an overview of what you will learn from this exam. And when you come to this, I strongly recommend that you go through all this module for this certification exam. It's a great way to get certified in Microsoft Cloud Services. And then, here you can take practice exam, which is exactly what we're going to do now. So a lot of resources here. You could, once you're ready, you can schedule your exam from here. The exams, it's only $99. And again, a lot of resources over here. This is a great page. A lot of free resources over here from Microsoft. Strongly recommend that you do this. Anyway, so the goal of this video is to take the practice exam. I recommend that you watch all my videos on the AZ-900 course before you attempt to take this certification exam. So let's take a practice exam. This practice exam are 50 questions apiece. So let's see. Question 1. Which two attributes are characteristics of the private cloud deployment model? Each correct answer presents a complete solution. A, applications can be provisioned and deprovisioned quickly. And B, hardware must be purchased. C, organizations only pay for what they use. And D, the company has complete control over physical resources and security. So again, which two are the private cloud deployment model? Your private cloud basically means that you own that. So the company has complete control over physical resources, and hardware must be purchased. So those are the two answers here. Okay. So in a private cloud, hardware must be purchased for a startup and maintenance. In a private cloud, organizations control resources and security. Quick provisioning is a characteristic of the public cloud deployment model, which is the opposite. And paying only for what is used is also a characteristic of the public cloud deployment model. Question number 2. Why is cloud computing offer less expensive than on-premises data centers? A, cloud service offerings have limited functionality. B, network bandwidth is free. C, services are only offered in a single geographic location. Or D, you are only billed for what you use. And this seems to be the correct answer. Okay, so renting compute and storage services and being billed for only what you use often lowers operating expenses. Depending on the service and the type of network bandwidth, charges can be incurred. Cloud service offerings often provide functionality that can be difficult or cost prohibitive to deploy on premises, especially for smaller organizations. Major cloud providers offer services around the world and making it easy and relatively inexpensive to deploy services close to where your users reside. Those are some of the great benefits of the cloud. Question 3. What is an advantage of cloud computing compared to on-premises deployments? You can scale more quickly. You can work from multiple workstations. You can have full access in case of internet outage. You own your CPUs. And the correct answer here is that you can scale more quickly. Cloud computing allows you to scale more quickly. Owning your own CPUs and having full access in the event of an internet outage are not features of cloud computing. In other words, actually, those are features of the private or on-premises environment. Working from multiple workstation is not specific to cloud computing compared to an on-premises deployment, because you could do that in an on-premises deployment as well. Question 4. Select the answer that correctly completes the sentence. So let's see. Blank refers to upfront costs incurred one time, such as hardware purchases. A. Consumption-based model. B. Capital expenditures. C. Elasticity. Or D. Operational expenditures. And the correct answer here is capital expenditures. Capital expenditures are one-time expenses that can be deducted over time. Operational expenditures are built as you use services and do not have upfront costs. And actually, this is one of the greatest features of the cloud, especially from management perspective and for tax purposes, because you do not have to. So you could start a company, you could start a project in a company, or you could increase the capability and upgrade the hardware in a company upfront without having to incur it in big expenses. So capital expenditure is a big thing from the management perspective, and that's why management loves the cloud so much because of this. Question 5. Select the answer that correctly completes the sentence. Increasing compute capacity for an app by adding RAM or CPUs to a virtual machine is called what? A. Disaster recovery. B. High availability. C. Horizontal scaling. Or D. Vertical scaling. And again, so you scale vertically to increase compute capacity by adding RAM or CPUs to a virtual machine. As scaling horizontally increases compute capacity by adding instances of resources, such as adding virtual machines to the configuration. Disaster recovery keeps data and other assets safe in the event of a disaster. And high availability minimizes downtime when things go wrong. Question 6. Select the answer that correctly completes the sentence. Deploying and configuring cloud-based resources quickly as business requirements change is called what? A. Agility. B. Elasticity. C. High availability. Or D. Scalability. And the answer is agility. So agility means that you can deploy and configure cloud-based resources quickly as app requirements change. Scalability means that you can add RAM, CPU, or entire virtual machines to a configuration. Elasticity means that you can configure cloud-based apps to take advantage of auto scaling, so apps always have the resources that they need. And high availability means that cloud-based apps can provide a continuous user experience with no apparent downtime, even when things go wrong. Question 7. Select the answer that correctly completes the sentence. Increasing compute capacity for an app by adding instances of resources such as virtual machine is called what? A. Disaster recovery. B. High availability. C. Horizontal scaling. Or D. Vertical scaling. And the correct answer here is horizontal scaling. Horizontal scaling increases compute capacity by adding instances of resources such as adding virtual machines to the configuration. You scale vertically by adding RAM or CPU to a virtual machine. And disaster recovery keeps data and other assets safe in the event of a disaster. High availability minimizes downtime when things go wrong. Question 8. What is high availability in a public cloud environment dependent on? Capital expenditures. B. Cloud-based backup retention limits. C. The service level agreement SLA that you choose. Or D. The vertical scalability of an app. And the correct answer is C. So the service level agreement SLA that you choose. Different services have different SLAs. Sometimes different tiers of the same service will offer different SLAs, which can increase or decrease the promised availability. Question 9. In which cloud service model is the customer responsible for managing the operating system? A. Infrastructure as a service. B. Platform as a service. Or C. Software as a service. And the correct answer is A. Infrastructure as a service. IaaS. Infrastructure as a service consists of virtual machines and networking provided by the cloud provider. The customer is responsible for the OS and applications. The cloud provider is responsible for the OS in PaaS and SaaS. Question 10. What is the customer responsible for in software as a service or SaaS model? A. Data and access. B. Storage. C. Runtime. Or D. Virtual machines. And the correct answer is data and access. SaaS allows you to pay to use an existing application on hardware managed by a third party. You supply data and configure access. Customers are only responsible for storage in a private cloud. Customers are responsible for virtual machines and runtime in infrastructure as a service in the private cloud. Question 11. Which cloud service models is used by Microsoft Office 365? A. Infrastructure as a service. B. Platform as a service. Or C. Software as a service. And the correct answer is C. Software as a service. SaaS allows users to connect to and use cloud-based apps over the internet. Common examples are email, calendaring, and Office tools such as Office 365. Question 12. Which cloud service models is used by Azure SQL databases? A. Infrastructure as a service. B. Platform as a service. Or C. Software as a service. And the correct answer is Platform as a Service, or PaaS. Azure SQL Database is a PaaS database engine. Question 13. What uses the Infrastructure as a Service cloud service model? A. Azure App Services. B. Azure Cosmos DB. C. Azure Virtual Machines. Or C. Microsoft Office 365. And the correct answer is Azure Virtual Machines. Azure Virtual Machines is an infrastructure as a service offering. The customer is responsible for the configuration of the virtual machine as well as all operating system configurations. Azure App Services and Azure Cosmos DB are PaaS offerings. Microsoft Office 365 is a SaaS offering. Question 14. Which type of cloud service are virtual networks? A. Infrastructure as a service. B. Platform as a service. Or C. Software as a service. And the correct answer is A. Infrastructures as a service. Infrastructure as a service helps you reduce the cost and complexity of maintaining a physical server and its data center infrastructure. Virtual networks are part of the infrastructure as a service cloud service. 15. Which two factors affect Azure costs? Each correct answer presents a complete solution. A. Availability zone selection. B. Date and time of use. C. Resource location. And D. Resource usage. The correct answers here are the resource location and the resource usage. So usage meters such as CPU time, disk size, and write operations are used to calculate your bill for an Azure resource. Deleting or deallocating a resource means that you will no longer be billed for it. Different regions can have different associated prices. Resources cost the same no matter the time of day or the day of the week. Question 16. You plan to build a new solution in Azure that will use platform as a service products. What should you use to estimate the monthly costs? The correct answer is C, the Azure Pricing Calculator. The Azure Pricing Calculator allows you to estimate and configure according to your specific requirements. You will then receive a consolidated estimated price and a detailed breakdown of the costs associated with each resource that you added to your solution. Again, if you're interested in this certification, in my YouTube channel, the same place where you are watching this, there are video demos with how to use the Azure Advisor, cost management, the Azure pricing calculator. I would strongly recommend that you watch those videos to get some hands-on of how all this technology works. Question 17. Which two features are available by using Azure Cost Management plus Billing? Each correct answer presents a complete solution. A. Create and manage budgets. B. Estimate the total cost of ownership before resources are deployed. C. Generate historical reports and forecast future usage. Or D. Provide discounted prices when you pay in advance. The correct answers are A, create and manage budgets, and C, generate historical reports and forecast future usage. Azure Cost Management allows you to create and manage costs and usage budgets by monitoring resource demand trends, consumption rates, and cost patterns. It also allows you to use historical data to generate reports and forecast future usage and expenditures. Question 18. You have an Azure virtual machine that is accessed only between 9 and a.m. and 17 each day, which is basically 5 p.m. What should you do to minimize cost but preserve the associated hard disks and data? A. Deallocate the virtual machine when it is not needed. B. Delete the virtual machine when it is not needed. C. Implement privilege identity management. Or D. Resize the virtual machine to a smaller size. The correct answer is A. Deallocate the virtual machine when it is not needed. If you have virtual machines workloads that are used only during certain periods, but you run them every hour of every day, then you are wasting money. These virtual machines are great candidates to deallocate when not in use and start back when required to save compute costs while the virtual machines are deallocated. Question 19. You need to associate the costs of resources to different groups within an organization without changing the location of the resources. What should you use? A. Administrative units. B. Resource groups. C. Resource tags. Or D. Subscriptions. The correct answer is resource tags. Resource tags can be used to group billing data and categorize costs by runtime environment, such as billing usage for virtual machines running in a production environment. Question 20. What can you use to ensure that new and existing Azure resources stay in compliance with corporate standards? A. Azure Advisor. B. Azure Policy. C. Resource locks. Or D. Resource tags. The correct answer is B. Azure Policy. Azure Policy is a service in Azure that allows you to create, assign, and manage policies that control or audit resources. These policies enforce different rules across all resource configurations so that the configuration stay compliant with corporate standard. Again, if you are watching my AZ-900 certification course, there is a demo that shows exactly how to use Azure Policy, as well as Azure Advisor, resource locks, and resource tags. Please watch those videos. Question 21. You need to recommend a solution for Azure virtual machine deployments. The solution must enforce company standards on the virtual machines. What should you include in the recommendation? A. Microsoft Intune compliance policy. B. Azure cost management. C. Azure lock. Or D. Azure policy. The correct answer again is Azure policy, which we just talked about. So Azure policies will allow you to enforce company standards on new virtual machines when combined with Azure VM, Image Builder, and Azure Compute Gallery. By using Azure policy and role-based access controls assignments, enterprises can enforce standards on Azure resources. But on virtual machines, these mechanisms only affect the control plane or the route to the virtual machine. Question 22. What can you use to ensure that a development team can only create virtual machines of a certain size? Again, Azure policy. So Azure policy is an extremely important, powerful component of Azure. Make sure that you watch those videos. Question 23. What can you use to define the resources you want to provision in a declarative JSON format? A. Azure CLI. B. Azure PowerShell. C. Azure repos. Or D. Azure Resource Manager or ARM templates. And the correct answer is D. Azure Resource Manager or ARM templates. By using ARM templates, you can describe the resources you want to use in a declarative JSON format. Question 24. Which management layer accepts requests from any Azure tool or API and enables you to create, update, and delete resources in an Azure account? A. Azure CLI. B, Azure Management Groups, C, Azure Resource Manager or ARM, or D, Azure Sphere? The correct answer is C, Azure Resource Manager or ARM. ARM is the deployment and management service for Azure. It provides a management layer that enables you to create, update, and delete resources in an Azure account. Question 25. Which two tools are accessible via the Azure Cloud Shell to manage an Azure environment? A, Azure CLI, B, Azure PowerShell, C, Azure Repos, or Azure Resource Manager or ARM templates? The correct answers are A, Azure CLI, and B, Azure PowerShell. Azure CLI is an executable program with which a user can execute commands in Bash that call the Azure REST API. Azure Cloud Shell also supports Azure PowerShell as an executable program. Question 26. What should you use to access Question 26. What should you use to access Azure Cloud Shell? A web browser, B, Azure Resource Manager, and C, Microsoft Visual Studio, or D, the command line on a local computer. And just a web browser. Question 27. Which two tools can you use to create a new Azure virtual machine from a mobile device that runs Android? Each correct answer presents complete solution. A, PowerShell in Azure Cloud Shell, B, Remote Desktop, C, SSH, or D, the Azure Portal. The correct answers are A, PowerShell in Azure Cloud Shell, and the Azure Portal. The Azure Portal can run on devices that have the Android operating system installed. The browser can be any type, such as, well, Internet Explorer is already too old. That would be Edge, Chrome, Firefox, or Safari, all the latest versions. When you visit the portal, you will see Cloud Shell. Users can access Bash and PowerShell from within the Cloud Shell. You can use Bash and PowerShell to create Azure virtual machines. So, and Microsoft, they need to update this because Internet Explorer is no longer even, shouldn't be used anyway. Question 28. What provides recommendations to reduce the cost of Azure resources? A, Azure Advisor, B, Azure Dashboard, C, Azure Service Health, D, Microsoft Defender for Cloud. And the correct answer is Azure Advisor. Azure Advisor analyzes the account usage and makes recommendations based on its set and configure rules. Question 29. You need to be notified when there are new recommendations for reducing Azure costs. What tool should you use? A, Azure Advisor, B, Azure Monitor, C, Azure Service Health, or D, Log Analytics. And again, this is the Azure Advisor that we just talked about. Question 30. You need to create a custom solution that uses thresholds to trigger auto scaling functionality to scale an app or down, an app up or down to meet user demand. What should you include in the solution? A, Application Insights, B, Azure Advisor, C, Azure Monitor, or D, Azure Service Health. The correct answer is Application Insights. Application Insights is a feature of Azure Monitor that allows you to monitor running applications, automatically detect performance anomalies, and use built-in analytics tools to see what users do on an app. Question 32. Which two components are created in an Azure subscription? Each correct answer presents a complete solution. The correct answer is resource groups and resources. Resources can only be associated with a single subscription. Subscriptions may be grouped into management groups. An account may be associated with multiple subscriptions. Question 33. What is an Azure storage account named storage 01 an example of? A resource, B, a resource group, C, a resource manager, or D, a subscription? A resource is a manageable item that is available through Azure. Virtual machines, storage accounts, web apps, databases, and virtual networks are examples of resources. Question 34. For which resource does Azure generate separate billing reports and invoices by default? A, accounts, B, management groups, C, resource groups, or D, subscriptions? The correct answer is subscriptions. Azure generates separate billing reports and invoices for each subscription so you can organize and manage costs. Resource groups can be used to group costs, but you will not receive a separate invoice for each resource group. Management groups are used to efficiently manage access, policies, and compliance for subscriptions. You can set up billing profiles to roll up subscriptions into invoice sections, but this requires customization. Question 35. Which Azure component allows you to replicate resources across a geography to ensure business continuity during a natural disaster at the primary site? A, availability sets, B, availability zones, C, Azure Virtual Machine Scale Sets, or D, region pairs? The correct answer is region pairs. Region pairs allow the replication of Azure resources across geographies to help ensure that a secondary region is available in case of any disaster at the primary region. Question 36. Which resource can you use to manage access, policies, and compliance across multiple subscriptions? A, administrative units, B, management groups, or C, resource groups? The correct answer is management groups. Management groups can be used in environments that have multiple subscriptions to streamline the application of governance conditions. Resource groups can be used to organize Azure resources. Administrative units are used to delegate the administration of Microsoft Entra resources, such as users and groups, and accounts are used to provide access to resources. Question 38. Select the answer that correctly completes the sentence. Blank is the deployment and management service for Azure. A, Microsoft Entra, B, Azure API Management, C, Azure Monitor, or D, Azure Resource Management. Azure Resource Manager, or ARM. The correct answer is Azure Resource Manager. ARM is the deployment and management service for Azure. It provides a management layer that enables you to create, update, and delete resources in an Azure subscription. You use management features such as access control, resource locks, and resource tags to secure and organize resources after deployment. Question 38. Which Azure resource is a software emulation of a physical computer that includes a virtual processor, memory, storage, and networking resources? A container, B, a function, C, a virtual machine, or D, an app service? And the correct answer is a virtual machine. Virtual machines are software emulations of physical computers. They include a virtual processor, memory, storage, and networking resources. Virtual machines host an operating system and can install and run software just like on a physical computer. Question 39. Which Azure Compute Service can you use to deploy and manage a set of identical virtual machines? A, availability sets, B, availability zones, C, Azure Container Instances, or D, Azure Virtual Machine Scale Sets? And the correct answer is Azure Virtual Machine Scale Sets. Virtual machine scale sets are an Azure compute resource that you can use to deploy and manage and scale a set of identical virtual machines. Question 40. Which two services can you use to establish network connectivity between an on-premises network and Azure resource? Each correct answer presents a complete solution. A, Azure Bastion, B, Azure Firewall, C, Azure VPN Gateway, or D, Express Route? And the correct answer are Azure VPN and Express Route. Express Route connections and Azure VPN Gateway are two services that you can use to connect an on-premises network to Azure. Bastion provides a web interface to remotely administer Azure virtual machines by using SSH or RDP, and Azure Firewall is a stateful firewall service used to protect virtual networks. Question 41. Which Azure Blob storage tier stores data offline and offers the lowest storage cost and the highest cost to access data? And the correct answer is Archive. The Archive storage tier stores data offline and offers the lowest storage costs, but also the highest cost to rehydrate and access data. The hot storage tier is optimized for storing data that is accessed frequently. Data in the cool access tier can tolerate slightly lower availability, but it still requires high durability, retrieval latency, and throughput characteristics similar to hot data. Question 42. Which two scenarios are common use cases for Azure storage, blob storage? A, hosting ASPX files on a website. B, mounting a file storage share to be accessed as virtual drive on multiple virtual machines. C, serving images or documents directly to a browser. And D, storing data for backup and restore. The correct answer is R, serving image or documents directly to our browser and storing data for backup and restore. Low storage costs and unlimited file formats make blob storage a good location to store backups and archives. Blob storage can be reached from anywhere by using an internet connection. Azure Disk Storage provides disks for Azure virtual machines, and Azure Files supports mounting file storage shares. Question 43. Which Azure Blob Storage Service tier has the highest storage costs and the fastest access time for creating and writing data? A. Archive, B. Cool, or C. Hot? And the correct answer is Hot. The Hot tier is optimized for storing data that is accessed frequently. The Cool Access tier has a slightly lower availability SLA and higher access cost compared to hot data, which are acceptable trade-offs for lower storage costs. Archive storage stores data offline and offers the lowest storage cost, but also the highest cost to rehydrate and access data. Question 44. Which Azure storage service should you use to store unstructured files, such as images, that will be served on web pages? A. Azure Blob Storage, B. Azure Disk Storage, C. Azure Queue Storage, or D. Azure Table Storage? And the correct answer is Azure Blob Storage. Azure Blob Storage is an object storage solution that you can use to store massive amounts of unstructured data, such as text or binary data. Question 45. What enables a user to sign in one time and use that credential to access multiple resources and applications from different providers? A. Conditional access, B. Device management, C. Multi-factor authentication, or D. Single sign-on? And the correct answer is single sign-on. SSO enables a user to sign in one time and use that credential to access multiple resources and applications from different providers. MFA is a process whereby a user is prompted during the sign-in process for an additional form of identification. Conditional access is a tool that Microsoft Entra uses to allow or deny access to resources based on identity signals. Microsoft Entra supports the registration of devices. Question 46. What can you use to allow a user to manage all the resources in a resource group? A. Azure Key Vault, B. Azure Role-Based Access Control, C. Resource locks, or D. Resource tags? Azure RBAC allows you to assign a set of permissions to a user or a group. Resource tags are used to locate and act on resources associated with specific workloads, environments, business units, and owners. Resource locks prevents the accidental change or deletion of a resource. Key Vault is a centralized cloud service for storing an application's secrets in a single central location. Question 47. To which object or level is an Azure role-based access control role applied? A. Policy, B. Resource lock, C. Resource tag, or D. A scope? And the correct answer is a scope. An Azure RBAC role is applied to a scope, which is a resource or set of resources that the policies applies to. Resource locks prevent the accidental change or deletion of a resource. Resource tags are used to locate and act on resources associated with specific workloads, environments, business units, and owners. And policies enforce different rules across resource configurations so that the configurations stay compliant with corporate standards. Question 48. Which type of strategy uses a series of mechanisms to slow the advancement of an attack that aims to gain unauthorized access to data? A. Defense in depth, B, distributed denial of service, DDoS. C, least privilege access, or D, perimeter. And the correct answer is defense in depth. A defense in depth strategy uses a series of mechanisms to slow the advancement of an attack that aims to gain unauthorized access to data. The principle of least privilege means restricting access to information to only the level that users need to perform the work. A DDoS attack attempts to overwhelm and exhaust an application's resources, and the perimeter layer is about protecting an organization's resources from network-based attacks. Question 49. Which two services are provided by Microsoft Entra? A, authentication, B, data encryption, C, name resolution, and D, single sign-on. Microsoft Entra provides services for verifying identity and access to application and resources. That is authentication. And SSO enables you to remember a single username and password to access multiple applications, and is available in Azure AD as well. Question 50. Which Microsoft Entra feature can you use to ensure that users can only access Microsoft Office 365 applications from approved client applications? A, Azure Role-Based Access Control. B, conditional access. C, multi-factor authentication, or D, single sign-on. And the correct answer is conditional access. Conditional access allows administrators to control, allow, or deny access to resources based on certain signals. You can require that access to certain applications only be allowed if the users are using an approved client application. MFA is a practice whereby a user is prompted during the signing process for an additional form of identification. Examples include a code on their mobile phone or a fingerprint scan. And this is the end of the exam. I hope that you have been answering this question with me. So let's see how we did. I think we got one wrong answer. I got one wrong answer. So if you look at the questions, and I think that I meant to choose the right one, but anyway, so we got one wrong answer. Let's see what that was. Okay, so question 34, which two factors affect Azure costs? That was the one. It's not availability zone. All right, anyway, so you can take as many of this, if you go back to the report, you can take as many of this as possible. These are the three big domains for this exam. So again, you can take another practice exam, or you can schedule the exams when you're ready. So watch my videos on the demos about not only to know the concepts of this thing, but how to use resource locks, how to use Azure policy, how to create virtual machines. I have demonstrations for how to do all that kind of stuff so that you get some hands-on demos. You can also create an account, an Azure account. They give you certain credits, to get some hands-on. Anyway, so if you like this content, I would hope that you like my videos, that you subscribe to my channel. This channel is specifically about passing certification exams, not only for Microsoft, but I have videos for the CISSP, the Security Plus, and I will make videos for a lot of other certifications. So stay tuned, subscribe to my channel, and thank you.